أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear students, in this lecture we will discuss different types of identities. First of all, absolute, logical, strict identity. Two things are deemed absolutely identical or absolutely logically identical if they are entirely indistinguishable across every interpretation, description, or conceptual framework. Another definition: if all the predicates without any exception which are applied to a thing A is also applied to a thing A prime, and all the predicates which are applied without any exception to A prime is also applied to thing A, then A and A prime are absolutely, logically, strictly identical, and their identity is absolute, logical, strict identity. I may repeat it once again because I doubt that I have missed something. If all the predicates without any exception which are applied to a thing A is also applied to a thing A prime, and all the predicates which are applied without any exception, of course, to A prime is also applied to A, then A and A prime are absolutely, logically, strictly identical, and their identity is absolute, logical, strict identity. And we give an example from theology. Essence of deity is absolutely, logically, strictly identical to deity himself. That is the reason. So no possible distinction, and if there is a distinction, this is only the change of words mean and no other distinction. So, and another type of identity is sortale identity. Now we come to sortale identity. Two things are in sortale identity if they belong to same sortale or category or kind or type. If A and B are sortally identical in epsilon, then they may not be sortally identical in sigma. If they are sortally they are sortally identical in sigma, they may not be sortally identical in epsilon. So this is another thing. And I want to say that Khairabadis use this type of identity, but they may not accept it. But there is a third type of identity, relative identity. If A and B are identical in one reference but may not be identical in another framework, they are relatively identical. So it is not necessary that they may not be relatively identical in any other. It may be possible, and they may or they may not. But this is a relatively identity, relative identity, or a relatively identical things. So I have said this thing because Khairabadis definitely beyond any doubt use this type of identity when they want to make some differences between the essential attributes of God and the essence of God. But they shift from one place to another place without acknowledging or without accepting, and sometimes even denying their such shifting. Hierarchy of identity. These three types of identities imply first type of mentioned in the first type mentioned implies the second, and the second type mentioned is implies the third. But sometimes first directly implies the third without the medium of the second. It is also possible. I think so. However, reverse does not hold. With a proper definition, some philosophers and theologians commit equivocation. So this is a problem of some theologians, and I have said that sometimes Kharabadis do this thing, and sometimes they accept, and sometimes they do not accept, and sometimes these definitions which are unknown to some scholars or who make doubts about some beliefs. That is the reason that many problems are based on these things. Even in Thomist philosophy, it is said that hypostases are identical to ousia, but they actually either mean sortale identity or relative identity, not the first which I have mentioned. So there is a problem of not defining the word identity, and some of them try to make a general type of identity including all these types, or at least first and last, in their philosophical system, and they shift from the first to last and last to first. Now, it is often said that if A is identical to B and B is identical to C, then A is identical to C. This is and it is said that they are about substances and not with relations. Now I come to the point. If you are saying this thing, then please note it down that you are using a term identity in a definition which includes the first and the third at least, and sometimes includes all the three. But if you are using the first, which I have said, then it is not only applicable to substances, it is applicable to each and everything, even possibles and impossibles. For I will give an example that suppose that A is a relation and B is also a relation, and both are in absolutely logically strictly identical to A, and the other one is absolutely logically strictly identical to B. So each one is absolutely logically strictly identical to each other, then there is no type of distinction between these two relations as well. Similarly, if you say that A is absolutely logically strictly identical to alpha, and B is also absolutely identically logically strictly identical to alpha, then A and B are same, one and same, exactly one and same relations. No type of distinction between them. They are not distinct. They are absolutely the same relation. So a relation in regard to itself is absolutely logically strictly identical to itself. So it may be noted that these are the types of identity. Now we will try to discuss some more important lectures in regard to these such concepts. And I forget to mention that a lot of problem of unity of existence depends upon this thing, because when they say that everything is identical to God, they are either saying in sortal identity or in relative identity, but not in the first. So this is their problem. So theologians and philosophers commit, and even mystics commit problems when using the term identity. The best way is to use the word identity in just one meaning, and that is the first which I have discussed. Hope that this will help my student to understand the problem. Once again, I have no ambition to attack on any religious system, just on the concept of identity and the ambiguities which are implied by the misuse of the terms. And I apologize for my mispronunciations because I am not accustomed to deliver lectures in English. Now I have opted this thing, so these are my limitations, and I hope that you will forgive me for my incorrect pronunciations and sometimes some grammatical mistakes which may occur while delivering the lecture. Thank you. Wassalam.